to explain.
How did you get into, when did you start thinking about not just being an investor, how you define activism?
Yeah. You look at a company, and we look at the beginning, and you'd study it. And again, you know, I'd spend 5 hours a night till 2 in the morning looking for companies. And you look at them and say, this company is amazingly cheap. It's got great assets. It was easy to do with that. Great assets, but they're not making any money. And then you look and say, why don't you make money? And you'd start talking to guys that understood the company better than I did. You know, an analyst, he said, the reason, Carl, is that it's not great and doesn't have a great name, great this. It's the guy that runs it's an idiot. And you just shouldn't be there. So I said, why can't we get rid of him? So they said, well, how are you going to get rid of him? There's no accountability in that company.
Clubby board,
they're all buddies.
There's been this criticism. Larry Fink over at BlackRock put this letter to a lot of these CEOs a couple weeks back, and he said that this type of thinking is too short-term in nature. But I think you disagree with that because it's not short-term in nature.
No, but I don't disagree with him fully. But I get into what I think where I disagree with Larry Fink.
Yeah.
I agree that there are activists that really aren't what I call a true activist. These are guys that do pump and dump.
Go back to the definition of activism. That okay? Your version of the definition.
I really think that the guys like us call activists that we go into a company and we do well for every shareholder.
Correct.
We make money for all the shareholders by cleaning the company up and getting on the board or whatever reason and saying you got to do this, this, and this. And if you're a smart guy, even the guys on the board sort of know what they should be doing. But hey, you got a guy in there, and that I wouldn't go into my metaphor for how these guys get there. There are some very, very good CEOs.
You've done a great job over the years explaining how those boards work.
How that boards work.
Yes.
Hey, I want to make it clear for this program or anywhere that there are very good CEOs I respect greatly. I mean, Tim Cook's a great CEO.
The people that are not defining activism the way you are.
So okay, let me get back to
the people that are going into the companies for the short term.
Yeah.
What are they? Who are they?
Let me say where I do agree with Larry Fink. That today, and it gets me angry, there are guys that go in and say, we're activists. And they got some money, they raise a little hell, they go out in the newspapers, you know, the good, you know, the guys, the charismatic guys that talk on some of these programs, oh, XYZ, we're there, and we want to see that company sold, and we ain't going to rest till it's sold. Stock jumps 5 points. They sell the stock. Pump and dump.
Right.
And that's, to me, despicable.
Right.
And by the way, and then they do worse. To me, worse. Then they say Icahn's buying it, which I'm never even in it. I never got close.
Yes.
Icahn's buying it.
Right.
And I hate telling, they call me up from all these programs and say, are you buying it? We hear you buying it. And I don't like to say what I own, but now I say it. I like to think of things, Tony, like a no-brainers. When you really get involved in the market, market's an art, not a science. And you build certain instincts, I think.
Yeah.
It's almost like a tennis player. You didn't ask Sampras, why did you go this way? How did you know the guy was going to hit it there? He can't tell you why. How does the open field runner, who's really great, run it down the field? Yeah. You say, how come you stop there and turn the other way?
It's instincts.
You can find certain deals where it hits you over the head.
Well, you said...
and you do those. And by the way, you do them, and part of it is that you know that if you can get, I mean, it sounds funny, but the company you buy, well, in the old days, you knew that it had a certain asset. You know what the asset was? The CEO, because if you got rid of him, the stock is going to go much higher. Let's talk about Larry Fink there.
Yeah.
So there, he's wrong and he's right. There were certain companies that can't do buybacks. But
nature
where
of
he's
the business.
wrong, but
nature of the business.
But where he's wrong, or where people are wrong to criticize a buyback is where you have a mediocre CEO. Hey, take Motorola. We were Motorola.
Yeah.
So Fink would have said, Icahn's wrong to tell Xander to give back money. Xander went and lost $8 billion by building 18 operating systems. So the shell's better losing $18 billion or taking the money out. Take Navistar. We're on the board there. We were the guy built this goddamn contraption. It's like the crazy uncle in the garage building this contraption for 7, 8 years. He blew $10 billion doing it. I can't remember the exact number. So Fink would say, oh, but you got to let them invest the money. Well, certain CEOs shouldn't be allowed to invest money. They shouldn't be CEOs. So he's wrong in saying, let's throw the baby out with the bathwater.
So the answer, it sounds like what you think is sometimes those that are just trying to do something in the short term, get the stock up, make an announcement, and then sell the stock.
Those are the so-called activists.
But those
and he's right about that.
But those that take a seat on the board Try to get the CEO and the other boards, the other directors to understand.
Treat it like it's their own business.
Yeah.
That's exactly
It's their own money.
Because the reason it works is because it's obvious. Because the system is dysfunctional. You can't get rid of these guys, and a lot of these guys, the most important thing in a company is the CEO, by far.
Absolutely.
There's nothing close. And while
Sets the culture and sets the leadership.
And while I don't believe they should get 750 times what the average worker gets, I don't begrudge them that money if the stock goes way up.
Yeah.
Because if he gets the stock up, let him have some good money. But look what you have. You got this clubby system, and you know what? A lot of them feel they can do what they want because of guys like Larry Fink, and I like Larry Fink.
Right.
But because of these of index funds that really support him, and Larry will say to me, "Oh, we really go both ways." But I can't remember one time, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe he'll show me, one time when they voted for us. Look, Larry built a great company, and he's a very smart guy, and I like him personally, and I agree with him, by the way, on the short-termism. In fact, I think he's right. There should be a penalty.
Right.
There should be a tax penalty, and I would back him on any reasonable thing he would say about it, but not about going in and saying, hey, don't ask companies to give back money. Certain companies don't have the ability to invest it.